Zoom and boom, everyone. We are back after a long, I know, way too long time away. Let me lower the camera just a little bit. There we go. It's a little better. We are back, guys. Welcome to According to Spiky Dash, episode number 31. Hard to believe it's been that long. Spiky Dash here with you. Lot to discuss, lot to talk about in this episode. It is April 15th. It is the basically midway point of the month, and there's just been a lot going on. Obviously, this past weekend, I was gone. I was in Illinois at Whinny City Pony Con, which I will have a full recap of to discuss. Also, I will share my thoughts in this on the season premiere of Season 9, the final season of MLP FIM, unfortunately as that is, but hopefully going to go out strong. I'll share my thoughts on that. And an added bonus, I will watch episode 3 live reaction, live thoughts. I have not seen it yet. All I know about it is that it's a Young Six episode, hence the buttons for Smolder No Cells. So that's all I know. I don't know anything else. So I'm trying hard this season to be spoiler free for the most part, although it is very difficult, so, as always. So, but we will see what happens there. And then at the end, just some more sports thoughts in general as well. I'll talk about the Alliance and its unfortunate end a little bit, along with also just my thoughts on the NHL playoffs going on right now as well. Again, just general housekeeping things to start off at first. I also, this is also, my thing, my video stream is Pony Sports and Life. Life's been, a little rough for me the past couple days. For those of you out there who are fellow Christians like myself, keep me in your thoughts and your prayers. It's been a little difficult for me with my current church. As I posted to Twitter, I've made the decision to kind of move on from my from Church of the Heartland here in Logansport after 6.5 months. It's just some situations going on, some drama. The pastor and I, I think I can chalk it up to like unreconcilable differences, and the fact that to me it's just not being what a pastor should be, not living out a Christian example, and just not helping me grow. So it's just very intimidating to me, and I can't continue to stay in a place like that. So I'm going to be trying out a different church here next week, and on Easter Sunday of all days, for a fresh start, burying the past and beginning anew. So what better day to begin a different chapter. So keep me in your thoughts, keep me in your prayers, and hoping that all goes well. Also, I want to say this right off the bat before I get into talking about Whinny City. For those of you who came to our panel on Friday at Whinny City, thank you. I cannot express my gratitude, my thanks for just an amazing first time experience. It could have gone maybe a little better, at least from my perspective. Because again, first I mentioned it, first time panelists, lesson learned. They don't provide you with a laptop for a PowerPoint. So lesson learned, but so I'll try to rectify that in the future if I do the panel again at future cons. But aside from that, I was just so very impressed with the turnout that we had, because I spread the word about it like crazy on social media. You guys know that. Just the fact that just the fact that we'll talk about it. Just the fact that there was, we probably had a max of about 20 people in the room at one time. I know there were other events going on while the panel was going on, but I figured that would kind of happen. And the first autograph session was going on as well. So There was just a lot going on, but I appreciate for those who came out, and then even the ones that stuck around toward the end of it. We had just a really good discussion. We had a really strong discussion um, about a lot of the characters from the show and how those perspectives get changed. So, again, I cannot thank you enough to those who came out. It made me feel just really good, knowing that the people, if you have a good idea, people do show up. So I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful. Thank you so much to all of you who made it great and who made it a very memorable experience for me. I will definitely want to do it again, and I'm sure Apple Dash would feel the same way I do. So it was just an awesome experience. It really was, and I hope to make it better if it wasn't up to what you thought. I haven't seen, of course, the feedback survey isn't out yet. But I'm sure once that comes out, and hopefully I get the details from that, anything to do to make it better, I will definitely take into consideration. I will definitely want to improve. So thank you again so much. It was just an awesome experience to get to do that at Whinny City. So very, very cool. Thank you all so much. Just a great discussion that we had. So again, the con itself, I mean, it always delivers. It's definitely, of course, it's close to our heart because it's the closest to me, and it just means so much to us here, myself, Apple Dash, and his wife Twilight Harmony. It just means so much to us, and it really showed again this year that we get to have, just that weekend to just spend that time with the fellow community, with the people in the fandom, and just have an absolute blast. And it was again an absolute blast. There were a few hiccups throughout. It didn't start off great for us on Thursday. Minor hiccup when we checked into the Hyatt House where we stayed about a mile out from the con itself. Hotels.com, the great people there. Emphasis on sarcasm. They had a little bit of screw up because they charged me for 2 rooms and only put 1 in the Hyatt House's system. But thankfully, the staff at the Hyatt House was beyond amazing. They took the time to talk to them. They were on the phone. The GM was on the phone for a good 30 minutes, and he really spoke on my behalf and did an outstanding job to get the situation rectified. So I cannot speak in appreciation. I cannot thank and appreciate the Hyatt House staff all the more for what they did for us this weekend, for taking care of us. The rooms were great, cleaned every day, just beautiful. Had a great view, so it was awesome. So Stephanie Bob's perfect, so it could not have been any more perfect. So it was definitely a good place to stay. Probably the best hotel experience we've ever had. So, but that was kind of a bumpy start. And then aside from the thing at the panel, and then I'll talk about, of course, when I get to Sunday, the finish of it, which is also kind of rough. But just go down day to day. Starting with the first day with Friday. Of course, started off going to Bronies React. That's always a panel I try to go to. Because of course I'm a huge fan, of course, of AC Race Best, Saber Spark, and Silver Quill, and so it's always a neat to share the stories that they have been through their series and just anything like that, and just the interaction there. Ton of good stories came out. That was just great. Guest of honor panels, of course, those are always must see at con. And this year's lineup, when the lineup was first announced, I was sort of thrilled about it, but I wasn't as thrilled as prior years at Whinny City because I felt like they'd gotten a lot of bigger names. But as the weekend went on, I warmed up. I warmed up to these guests of honor because they were all such sweethearts, and they were really, at least the ladies were, and they were all so great, and they were great to talk to and interact with and throughout the whole weekend. So The guest of honor, if you didn't know, Kiara Zani was there. The theme this year was Midwest Adventure, so kind of like the Daring Do jungle theme, which was really really neat to do. The stage design, I got to give credit to like the stage crew, like the AV crew, all that designed that was awesome. I think it's the first time they ever like done that for Whinny City, and it was just so neat. If you didn't see it, I'm sure it's up there on Whinny City's site or anything like that. Oh, by the way, and speaking of. All the they're all I'm pretty sure on Whinny City's Facebook page. They record a lot of the panels, so I'm sure, and it's on my Facebook too. That I shared my panel on my Facebook page, so check that out as well. If you weren't there to see my panel, but yeah, it was just great to see Kiara as Daring Do. Brenda Critchlow as a chorus. She was great to interact with throughout the weekend. Marika Hendricks, wow, she reminds me a lot of Rebecca Soichet, who I met 2 years ago in 2017. She is such a sweetheart. You wouldn't think that considering the characters she voices. She voices Gilda, of course, the Griffin, Rainbow Dash's friend, and then Sonata Dusk from the EQG series. But she is such a sweetheart, so nice to talk to. I really had fun talking with her. Sarah Richard was there from the IDW Comics series. Brian Drummond was there. He was such a pleasure to talk to, too. He's done over like 30 voices alone on the show. Of course, he's Owie Zodel, Mr. Cake. I think he's been Sheriff Silver Star. He's done so many Double Diamond. He's done so many different roles, and just so much fun to interact with him. And then Big Jim Miller was there, the supervising director from the show, as well, and he was all over the place all weekend long, doing a lot of different things. So it was great to see him as well. Again, I mentioned the panel again. With a 180 changing character perspectives really, really well. Again, I was just so thrilled that was just so engaging. A lot of different characters discussed. Of course, with me talking about Starlight, it was kind of the major focus. That's right. You were the star of the panel. You were the main front focus. You were the star. But of course, I think you're used to that. There's star in your name, for gosh sake. So we got a lot, of course, more on that. We talked about Thorax, and so we talked about Tempest a little bit. We talked about Torch. We talked about Trixie a little bit. Discord came up a little bit. I think even the Student 6 came up, which was really neat as well. I was surprised that Gilda, considering Marika was there, I was surprised that nobody brought up Gilda. I was actually quite surprised at that. And I mentioned that to Marika, and she was even surprised that Gilda was not brought up. I was wondering how people thought about her turnaround as well. So I was quite surprised that no one brought up Gilda. But I got what I wanted out of it. It was just, again, great discussion and just great moments overall from that panel. Of course, I got more buttons. I now have these are from Afro Thunder. She does an outstanding job on these. Anytime she's at a con, check her out. She always is adding new characters and everything. So these are awesome. Of course, this one says, of course, Starlight Glimmer's best pony, and then of course Smolder best dragon and Ocellus best changeling. I mean, and I have more. Of course, I have Spike already. I have Rainbow Dash already. I got Thorax 2 this year, and I think that's it. All I have so far. But she does an outstanding job. So check out her work. I don't know if she's gonna be at BabsCon here in next week or not, but I know she does a lot of the cons. So check her out. She's really, really good. I want to show you guys this. Whoa. Tight squeeze. I got a lot of prints in the vendor hall. I got a lot of stuff at the vendor hall this year. The vendor hall this year was a lot better than last year. Now, I will say I was disappointed in plushies. I was expecting a lot more in terms of plushies. I still cannot find any plushes of the Student 6. I'm disappointed in that. I'm really hoping that that someone will make some, or they'll start carrying them or something like that, because they're becoming, hopefully will become more prominent in the show. I mean, they had big roles in season 8, but I'm hoping they become more prominent And of course, with the third episode, clearly that was focused around them, from what I've heard. But I want to show you guys these awesome prints that I got. And I secured the other ones because they're autographed. Well, these are autographed too, but although this one isn't. But I saw this one, I just had to get it. This is, I think I got this. Did I get this at Keyframes booth? I think I did. Yeah, I got this at Keyframes booth. One of Starlight. This is really cool. I really like this one. This is really well done. So this is really nice. I really like this. I had to get that one. And then of course, good old Silver Quill. I of course have always been a fan of his work and his content from pretty much almost from the start. Ever since I found his channel. So this is like the many faces of our favorite hippogriff. So many different looks, different designs, and it is signed. So it is signed here to Spiky Dash. So and it says thanks for watching, which is his trademark. So very cool. It's always good to see Silver Quill, and always great to talk to him. And then this one of course, this one I'm calling, like, I guess somewhat my inspiration, because I am always inspired by the fellow reviewers in the fandom. I'm always inspired by their work and their content. So I hope maybe I'll get to see more of these at future cons. But I got a few. So this is one of pretty much almost not, I wouldn't say the entire reviewer community, but this is the vast majority of them that are pretty well known across the fandom. Got it signed by Silver Quill. Of course, there's Keyframe. She was there, and then Lightning Bliss down here. It was great to see her. Let's see, and who else is on here? Firebrand's on here. Voice of Reason's on here. Let's see, Sweetie Bloom. KP's on here. Dr. Wolf is on here. Eliora. Mad Munchkin. Golden Fox. Finn the Pony, I'm a big fan of. Dusty Cat's on here. Let's see, Despio. So yeah, I know a lot of these from watching their channels, and there's also some I don't know. But yeah, I know a lot of these from their work, and I'm very inspired by them, and I love watching their content. So and of course their reviews. So this is definitely something that I treasure from that I found it. I found this at Silver's booth as well. So that was really cool. But then these here are the ones that are definitely very special, because these are the ones that I got signed by the guests of honor. Brian Drummond, Owie Zodel, and of course he has to have his catchphrase on there. It says to Spiky Dash, "Curse you, daring do!" I love that. And so Brian Drummond's very awesome. So he was just so great to talk to. Zecora, Brenda Critchlow, she's a sweetie. I mean, giving everybody sugar. I love that. And hers says, "Dear Spiky Dash, life is magical." Love it. I love it. She's such a cool character, and so neat to talk to. Daring Do, of course, Kiara. So great to talk to her and meet her. And her says, "Spiky Dash, love meeting you," from Kiara. So that's awesome. Again, she's great to talk to, great to interact with. But of course, my favorite of the weekend, Marika, with Gilda. I gotta say that the Griffins have grown on me over time. They really have, especially Gallus, of course, the Student 6. But he's grown on me. I liked Gabby from the start, just because of her energy. But Gilda, Gilda turning it around, I can appreciate, and I appreciate more now that I've met Marika, because she's just so sweet. And it said, "Hi Spiky Dash, it's all awesome to meet you." Enrica. Put in quotes Gilda the dweeb. I just she was such a pleasure to talk to. So that was cool. I got some really neat stuff. Like I said, the vendor hall was really good this year. The con store was good this year. Um, just a lot better than previous Whinny City years. So what else? And then after that, we went to the mall for dinner for a bit, and I did a better job this year. I'm proud of myself. I did a better job this year of squeezing time in my scheduling for food. I didn't do that last year, and that was kind of scary. But I did a better job this year. During downtime periods, I check out the vendor hall and hang out in the sponsor lounge or what have you, and snack on something or what have you. And the sponsor lounge also is much better this year, I will say, than previous years, especially last year when it wasn't as great. This year, tons better, a lot more variety, drink wise, snack wise, and of course they had Pony on the TV, which of course is awesome. I even got to see one of my favorite episodes in there in Gauntlet of Fire, which was really cool. But I actually went to the mall for dinner, and while my friends went to, I think they went to Panda Express, I found this place called Blaze Pizza. Really, really good. It's kind of like pizza, but it's done like Subway style. Like they make it in front of you, like for what you want on it, and then they just put it in their fire oven and make it right in front of you. It blew my mind. And it is so good, you guys. I gave them high marks. And CityWorks. There's a new restaurant actually attached now to the Hyatt Regency called CityWorks. And we went there before, on like the first day to eat. And amazing. Absolutely incredible. Again, the staff is great. Very nice. The presentation just great. And I had the fish and chips, and it was so good. And the pretzel bites are absolutely incredible. So we're probably going to start making that like a tradition to eat there before con. We still do our tradition after going to Lou Malnati's, but just he wanted to try new things and do different stuff every year. I think, and last year we went to Portillo's, but everybody goes to Portillo's. That's the thing. Everybody goes there. We didn't want to get swept up in that this year, so we just decided to do something a little different. So that was awesome. Of course, I went to Silver's panel. Magic is Threes. Great job on that. Kind of exploring the number 3 from the show. I even got to share a few myself with him about the dragons and the changelings, of course, as you can tell. So that was neat. Grand Galloping Gala was also, again, tons better this year than last year. The music was better. The fact they had a Friday concert too along with it was awesome. I sweated my butt off on the dance floor. So that was a fun time. I went to the Conchair chat with Charlie and Big Jim Miller. Again, to kind of run a convention, how it works, all the questions and stuff. That was neat to experience. And then I closed the night with what I didn't get a chance to do last year because of technical difficulty, doing my own karaoke. And originally last year I wanted to sing Flawless, but I found another song I wanted to sing, and I mentioned it at the panel of how much I really like the Changeling Can Change. The song from the Spike episode with Thorax, and I really, and at first people weren't thrilled because I know people really don't like that song, the fact that Spike's singing. I even heard someone in the audience, "Oh, please don't sing it like Spike." Well, I wasn't going to do that, but I think I did really good on it. I've been practicing it leading up to that moment, so. It was fun. I had fun with it, and I got a good response out of it. So I'm glad people liked it because it's a beautiful song, and I love it so much. And it's just I like Spike. I've always liked Spike as a character for obvious reasons, and it's just a great song. And my friend Nate, you guys seen out here in Apple Dash, he did Open Up Your Eyes by Tempest Shadow, which seems like everybody does that song at karaoke because it's a great song. Don't get me wrong. It's now, it is even now, no joke, it is now my ringtone on my phone. So I like the song. It's really good, but it's like I've done it like 5 times now. We're gonna set the record after from Cider Fest last year. Like everybody does "Open Up Your Eyes," so it's a good song. It's one of the best villain songs probably ever in the show or the movie history. So great stuff. So that was Friday. Saturday. Friday was a pretty loaded day. Saturday was almost as loaded. I actually did something early in the morning. I actually did something more geared toward a kids event, but I wanted to do it myself because it was all about dragons, which of course I am very fond of. So I kind of did this thing called the Great Dragon Migration. I learned basically more about the dragons of Equestria, and actually, and I showed you guys on Twitter. If you guys follow me, get this out of here. This is the end result of my work. So this is, it's basically to make one of these. All you have to do is you find like a foam egg and then get thumbtacks. I never knew that was how that they were made before. But and then I told him, I said, well, I'm going to then paint this one orange for Smolder. So to put next to my bigger Cinder and Ember dragon eggs. So this took like 4 to 5 coats of paint, like to make sure that there really wasn't any silver left over. So this was it was a bit of a project. But I'm glad that it turned out so well. And apricot was actually the closest color I could find. Technically, I researched this. Like Smolder's like official color is like Gambrose or something like that. But this was the closest I could find. But I think it turned out pretty well. I'm really proud of this. So it looks really good on my dresser over here. So I was quite proud of that. Let's see what else. Oh, I went to Luck Rock's panel, which I usually do every year because he does a nice job. At least one of his panels. But he, of course, he always does these character tournaments on Twitter. The best MLP character from the show. And now Starlight, of course, has done very well in those tournaments. In his first 64 character tournament, she won. And then shortly before Con, he did 128 during the season 8 hiatus tournament, and Starlight made it all the way to the final, lost to Princess Luna. As I mentioned at the panel, I guess if Starlight could lose to anyone, Luna's not a bad choice to lose to. I understand she's very beloved. She's the princess of the night. I get it. So, and actually, there was a Luna fan in the crowd when I the panel I mentioned that. So I said, not gonna knock her. Good one to lose to. So, um, but in this one, Pinkie Pie of mine does an outstanding job on the script readings every year and just absolutely kills it and crushed it again this year. So always, never a disappointment. Then, of course, I got the autographs and the pictures with Kiara, Brenda, Marika, and Brian. Then, of course, after the sponsor dinner and the cocktail hour, just such a fun time to spend so much time with the guests of honor to show the appreciation for the sponsors and how much they mean to keeping the con going. That's just so cool. Of course, I sat at Marika's table. Just a sweetheart, just to get to talk to her, and everyone else there at the table was great to talk to as well. And actually, I had the people sitting next to me. One was from Indianapolis, not too far away, and then the other guy sitting next to me, actually, he knows the Logansport area because he's very familiar with Grissom Air Force Base. So cool to even experience that. So hey, small world, right? And then of course the sponsor dinner always is awesome. The food is great. The food is amazing. The deep dish pizza there, and I had breadsticks and cookies, and it was just so good. And then the cocktail hour, they actually had this drink that I tried. It was actually quite good. I think it was called like the Awi Zodal 6 or something like that. It was like vodka, like like a blue curacao mix or something like that, like lemon juice, something like that, and then something else. And it was just so well made and so good. It's not. I mean, it's strong, yes, but it's not like overpowering. And I'm not usually a big drinker, so it was just so good. And I was going to tell Brian. I didn't get a chance to tell him. I should have. I said, Brian, this drink that they've named after a character is absolutely amazing. I didn't tell him because we were talking so much with him and Marika, but it was great. Another cool moment. I went to Vivid's panel then that night on script writing for fanfic authors. Got some really good tips. I'm not big on writing like that. Like I have plenty of ideas, but anytime I try to get them going, it's like I hit either a wall or I hit a time obstacle or something like that. So it's just been a big struggle for me to get those projects going. But I always go to Vivid's panel because Vivid's a good friend and actually and of course I bring my Soren and Brayburn plushes to his panel because of Sensation and the book I read last year, and I told him how much I really enjoyed the book, and it was pretty much the highlight of my year. And as I mentioned in the year in review video for 2018, it was just so it just struck a chord with me, and I told him, I said, I asked him, I said, do you have your Sharpie after the panel? I said, do you have a Sharpie on you? And he said, well, yeah, I think I do. And I said, well, could you sign my Soren and Brayburn plushes? And he's like, yeah. And you won't believe this. I never signed a plush before. Like, he signed his book, of course, several times, but he's never had anybody before I asked him to sign a plush. And for me, like, in that moment, to make Vivid feel special, that meant a lot to me. Like, the fact that I could make someone else in the fandom feel that important, that special in that moment, there are no words, of how not only made me feel good, but to make him feel that special. It was just awesome. So so he signed these. I can do this very carefully, Brayburn. So I'm not gonna get too deep into that. So many bonus, but what is this? No, can't and then of course, and I it's now my background on, or not my background, but my cover photo on Twitter as well. But there's my picture with Vivid holding the plushes there. So that was just so I can make it a little bit bigger there. There we go. It's a little better shot of it there. Just awesome to see him. Such a does such a great job. With being in charge of the main events and everything that he does, and just make sure everything runs smoothly as well, and helping Charlie out. So, and his panels are great. So just such a joy to talk to Vivid every year and see him, and it was just so cool in that moment to make him feel important by signing them. So thank you, Vivid, as always, for your friendship and what you do for Whinny City and for all the cons every year. It really means a lot. And then end of the night, of course, with the baseball concert. I had never been to the baseball concert before because I never had time for it, or there were panels overlapping it, or I was just too tired from the day to stick around for it. But I wanted to at least see it this year because there were some really good bands I wanted to see this year. Of course, seeing Luck Rock perform for the first time was awesome. His band did a great job. I got to see Crusader a little bit, and he did a great job. Vocal score, I'm a big fan of. And got to see his performance, and that was great. And then the one I really wanted to see, for obvious reasons, the Wonderbolts were there, and oh my gosh, they're just so awesome. They're a rock and roll band from Houston, and they just did an outstanding job. It was so great to see them, but I couldn't stick around for the whole thing. I wanted to, honestly, I really did, but I couldn't in the end. Not only because it was getting late, but their fifth song that they did, called "What Went Wrong," that really broke me, like on a strong emotional level. It's basically was dedicated to like Derpy as a character, and then but also to I think the bass player said like it was dedicated, or one of the singers or the bass player was dedicated to one of his like daughters, and like people with special needs or disabilities, what have you. And just they just reminded them, hey, you're okay. You're whenever you feel like you're not good enough, when when people think that you're different or what have you, just this is the song's a reminder that you're okay. And that song in that moment just was like, wow, I can totally relate to that, because I wasn't the popular kid in school. I wasn't really trying to be in with the in crowd. I had my clique of friends, but that was really outside of that. That was really all I had. I mean, I gained a little bit of popularity through being part of the basketball team as being the manager, but that really was kind of fleeting. Um, I wasn't trying to be popular in college. I stayed mainly focused on, my classes and going to sporting events. That was pretty much it. I didn't really gain a whole lot of friends in college. I gained a few through my, residence hall, but beyond that, I didn't really gain a whole lot there. Um, it's been it's been trying in my life to gain acceptance, to feel loved, to feel respected, to to feel, I don't want to use the word important, but at least noticed, at least some feeling of hey, I matter to somebody. And that to me is kind of like the great thing about being part of this fandom. This fandom is like so non-judgmental. Like it's and I know I need to tread carefully when I say this, but sometimes it's almost like it's less judgmental than Christianity. And I know that's like saying a lot, but at times I feel like I'm even more judged as a Christian than I am being part of the Brony community. So it's like that, and to me that kind of like that shouldn't add up. That shouldn't happen in terms of Christianity, but that's why I love being part of this fandom, because it's where I can feel accepted and accepted for who I am, and and we're all in it together. And that's just the togetherness aspect is just, it resonates so strong with me. So I feel like that's really the great part of it. So I just, in that moment, I'm like, I couldn't stay. I had to step out. I'm like, no, that was it. I'm broken. And I tweeted about it. And actually, and it goes into the Sunday story. But that night, like, I got a tweet back from the bass player of the Wonderbolts. I think like Mungo's his name, and then Galen, the lead singer. And apparently I made both of them cry, which Mungo's a crier. He's pretty emotional guy. He's a hugger. He gives hugs out. So he said, you come by me, give me a hug. You're all right. Don't you're okay for who you are, and I will give you a hug. But then to find out, to say that, to make Galen cry, like, apparently that doesn't happen very often. So again, it was great for me to make an impact, to make an impact on someone else in the fandom. That always, just as part of the community, always just feels so good. And speaking of, again, the music and buying stuff, I got CDs. I got one of Crusader, and one, of course, of the Wonderbolts. So very, very awesome. I need to listen to these at some point. I've really, of course, I've been so busy that I haven't had a chance to yet, but I need to listen to those at some point, one day when I'm not busy out the butt. This past week, you guys, was just coming back from con. Was just, I was put like literally through the ringer. It was just a busy week getting back in the groove from con, and it was just it was crazy, and I had to make like multiple trips to Illinois even after that to get which I'll talk about too. But and then I got like, let's see, I got like 2.5 hours of sleep last Thursday because the weather kept me up. I only got 5 hours of sleep on Friday, and then I got like a ton of sleep after that because I needed to make up for all the lost sleep I didn't have. So yeah, that was that. Sunday, final day. Pony song parody sampler, really cool. I you know this was hosted by I Rhyme the Songs, who is actually a pony parodist, and this is more up my alley because it's a shorter time frame. It doesn't take long to write a pony parody in terms of a fan fiction. To me, these are shorter. It just amazes me, how much creativity is in this fandom, especially in terms of the pony parodies. There's so many good ones out there that we heard and he played for us, and actually I even got to sing one for him that I'd actually written just shortly before the convention, dedicated to the Student Six, called "You're the Example," and I have that one, and I've been very inspired since then. So let's see. I'm now up to a full hand. I'm now up to five parodies that I've written lyrics to. I really hope to record these soon. I need to find like a good cheap. I know that might not be maybe not possible, but at least a good like audio like editing or slash recording program. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm open to them because I would love to record these as well at some point. I've got, of course, my School of Friendship fight song that I've done on here before. Of course, You're the Example, the one that I wrote before Con. That's dedicated to the Student Six. That's to the tune of Calling All Angels. Let's see. I wrote one called You've Won My Heart. That's dedicated to Smolder and Ocellus. It's kind of parody of Unbreak My Heart. I did a song called Being a Dragon, parentheses, Only a Dream. That's the parody of This Love by Maroon 5. That's dedicated to the Dragons. And then I wrote one, a parody of A Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler called Ocellus' Letter. That one basically took a while because it's a much longer song. But basically, the story of that one is basically it's Ocellus writing a letter to Thorax back home and wondering how everything's going at the Changeling Hive, and telling him of all the lessons she's done and the journey she's been on and saving Equestria, and she tries to send this letter out. And what happens is a windstorm comes in, and the letter gets swooped away and sent, all the worlds away back to our world. And a fan, aka me, actually gets the letter and then writes back a response to Ocellus. So saying, I'm sorry, there's a mistake. I didn't intend to get this letter, but I'm so touched by your story, and I've been watching you, and I just want to mention how proud, I am as a fan of you. So it kind of comes full circle, and I was really proud of that. So yeah, I've inspired now to write a few, and again, hopefully I can record those very soon. Guest of Honor Panel Sunday, of course, is always outstanding. They actually, again, kind of a Q&A session, but during that, they had a Jenga game going on stage. So if you asked a panelist a question and then they answered it, they had to go take out a Jenga piece. So it got more and more intense as it went on, and eventually it got to a point where Big Jim got stuck, and he decided to just kick the whole thing down, and that got a big roar from the crowd. I even got to ask a question on Sunday to Marika, and the question I asked was kind of a hypothetical, what if, on what would happen if Gilda and Gallus hooked up together, like what were they go on a date, and what would they talk about? And the reaction from Big Jim, I'll never forget. It was like, Gallus is kind of young, isn't he? I said, it's hypothetical, Jim. I understand he's young. I get that, but let's just say Gallus was more grown up and they could do that. And I think Marika then said, well, Gilda would then probably, convince Gallus to like either, get him for money to ride on her back or something, right? For Gallus to ride on her back or something like that. Um, so they and I forget I said like where they'd go. They probably just like fly around. I think she like fly around Griffinstone or something like that. So and I think they just like I think she said they just like talk about like just ways to get bits or ways to spend bits or something like that because that's what the way the Griffins are. So it was neat. It was neat to ask the question. It was really cool. And I even said like when I said Guild and Gallus hashtag I ship it, and Kiara actually stopped me later and said, "Hey, I liked your hashtag. That was funny." So hey, I made Kiara Zani laugh. So hey, I that's an accomplishment in and of itself. Of course, meeting up with the musician meetup, that was really cool. Again, I told Luck and Vocal and Crusader and the Wonderbolts how great they were on Saturday night. And that's when I got the big hug from the Wonderbolts members from Mungo and from Galen, and that was just so emotional. But it was great to talk to them and share those experiences I've had and just the fact that it brought those struggles from my past and it was just so great to talk to them and tell them how awesome they were and what a great band they are and just so great to see them at Whinny City. So just so cool. So just big fan of theirs. And then of course after that, all that was left at that point was the charity auction. I didn't really have a whole lot left to spend this year for the charity auction, like what I had last year. I was able to spend on the guest of honor badges. I didn't really have that this year because A, I nearly spent all my cash at the vendor hall and on food, and B, I had a credit card balance pretty close to $1,000, so I wasn't going to really try to get anything this year. But the great thing is the fandom still came together, the community came together to set a record. We broke the Whinny City record for money raised for Generations Against Bullying, $13,897. Just so awesome. It just blew my mind. Now, the attendance numbers this year did go down. It went down to from about 900 attendees, I think like 933 last year, down to like 804. But that was to be expected a bit because, with the final BronyCon happening and everyone wanting to go to that this year, the final MLP MSPF in Minneapolis, it was to be expected. People were going to save up to get to those cons and maybe not be able to make Whinny City at the same time. Understandable, but still not that bad of a drop off. It was to be expected, and hopefully next year we can bounce back. With those two ending, and there'll be a few new ones popping up. But actually, I think just the one. I think just Equestria Fest in Maryland, but. Aside from that, I think we're still going to have a good number next year as well. Closing ceremonies this year were the hardest for me. And I always cry at closing, but I don't think I've cried this hard and this long. Because I don't know whether it was the speech that Generation Against Bullying gave and showing how appreciative they were of the money that we raised, or just the fact that, I made such an impact on so many people throughout the weekend and the fact that everything went pretty well. It was just so hard. It's always hard on the last day to leave. It goes by so fast. You're in it, you're in the moment, and then you wake up and realize, oh, wow, it's Sunday. Like it's the last day. And it's always a challenge. But, after that was over, we kind of waited around for a bit. We didn't really want to leave. We were just hung around for a bit. We wanted to give Charlie a hug and get a picture with him and send and a proper send off. We gave him a group hug, which was great. And he signed my OC. And for anyone to sign my OC first, and I mentioned this, I'm glad it was him, because it's so great for the job that he does. At cons, it's great to call him a friend. It's great to see him every year. We're gonna try in the this year to get a spirit badge for MLP MSPF, at least that to support them in spirit. And then we're going to try, fingers crossed, no guarantees, we're going to try to make it to Cider Fest in November. We're hoping. We'll see how things shake out financially, but we're going to at least try to make it happen. And then, of course, after leaving the hotel, we packed up. We headed to Lou Malnati's, where we always eat dinner. Always great food there. Always a great time. Looking back, reflecting on the whole weekend and everything like that. And apparently, Vivid has the same idea because we see him there every year as well. So it's always nice to again see him one more time before we leave. And then after that, I had to rescue my friends. Yeah, and then it kind of ended with a thud, literally, because I am heading down Illinois 53 on the way back, and all of a sudden I get a phone call saying our car has died. So they are at an intersection in Addison, Illinois, and yeah, they're das kaputt. Thankfully, I was not too far from them. I was only about 12 minutes out from them, so I pull off at a mobile gas station, wait to hear further instructions, and then I get where they're at. I get a location, so eventually I find them. The cop's there, the tow truck's there. Their belt snapped, so that's what led to the car shutting down. It had been fine. It had been fine the whole weekend. It had been fine other trips, Kokomo, Danville, whatever, no issues, and then that happened. So what do you know? But eventually we went back last Friday to get that. So because they fixed the belt, recharged the battery, did everything like that. So we went back there Friday, got it back, and back in business. So yeah, that was a that was a literal trip. Oh, excuse me, we're sure you caffeine apparently. But yeah, it was yeah. So that was definitely something. So yeah, it was just, but all in all, as a whole, I mean, yeah, again, the minor hiccups, but all in all, another great weekend, a great job done by Whinny City. Never fails to disappoint, and hopefully, hopefully soon that the announcement made that it will be won 2020. Charlie said there was probably pretty much a pretty good chance there's going to be a 2020 announcement here in a week or so. So stay tuned for that. Looking forward to that as always. So cannot wait to see what's going to be happening. 2020, the 5th year of Whinny City, the 5th year anniversary, and who knows by that time what's going to be in terms of the show. Are we going to be in a hiatus point before G5? Are we going to be the movies in 2021? That's going to be around the corner. What's G5 going to bring us? Will we know by that point? We'll see what happens. So as long as people keep coming, as long as people keep sponsoring and support the con, it's going to keep going on. So I'm just so thankful. Again, I cannot say thank you enough to Charlie, to Vivid, to the entire 85 staff members, to guests of honor, fellow panelists, musicians, vendors, everybody that just community guests just made that weekend just absolutely incredible. So again, thank you so much. Let's talk about the premiere. Let's talk about the season 9 premiere. And I know that, of course, everyone, thinks, well, not everyone, but I'm sure the majority of people think, oh my gosh, it's the best ever. It's the best ever. Not me. And I'm probably in the minority for that. In fact, it's not even in my top 5 in terms of premieres. It was okay. For me, the second part was better for me. It pretty much saved it. But I was just like, I was left with kind of like more questions than answers. And for me, like, that's kind of a turnoff. And I know things have to play out as the season goes along. Like, you can't solve everything right away. I got to check off like a few of the items on my season 9 wish list as a result of that. I got to check off, with Cozy Glow and T-Rex relationship, seeing them again, Chrysalis, seeing her again, and the Tree of Harmony, but not for a good reason. So let's talk about this. So part one for me was the meh. I gave it a 5 out of 10. I gave it an average rating. because this one was to me like not very great. So basically, to recap it, so the main six and Spike get an urgent summons to Canterlot. And then I'm thinking, I wonder what this could be about, because I did watch the exclusive trailer, so I kind of knew like some things that were coming from this episode. So I kind of figured, this is okay. This is the moment where Celestia and Luna are going to drop the ball on them and tell them that they're retiring. I was funny though that Pinkie Pie, as they're running to the castle, getting all dizzy from like the walls being blurry when they run. Pinkie's fourth wall level was at like an all-time high in this premiere, and also missed opportunity by the writers. I thought that like Pinkie Pie was doing like a bowling ball and like come in with the castle and take them all out, and I would have yelled strike, but she only took out Spike, and there was no sound effect. That was a missed opportunity. But Celestia and Luna are princesses. They're the ultimate trolls in this case. They send them an urgent summons, only to keep them in suspense at first, and then telling them they're retiring. So, classic there from them. And then here comes Discord. To kind of ruin everything again, And I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching this, Discord, please don't act like a dick. Just seriously, let's not have matter of principles all over again. Let's not have that. I don't want to see that again. But I'm thinking, it's probably what we're going to get because it's Discord. So we find out that as a result, yes, Celestia and Luna retiring, and Twilight is going to be Equestria's new leader, everyone, with the help of her friends, of course. Only fitting, right? It's kind of that it's led to this. And I found it interesting. I found it funny. I had a chuckle when Rainbow Dash said, I want the power. Does that mean we get your powers? I want to get the power to see everybody's dreams. It makes me wonder why though. Like why would Dash want that power? Why would she want to be the one to see in everyone's dreams? I don't get why she want that. There's really nothing character developed that would make that an indication. So I find that interesting. And it's so great in this moment. Like the rest of the main five are like taking that announcement from Celestia and Luna like so coolly and cool, calm, collected. Like couldn't be more ready to take over. And Twilight, of course, in her classic, freak out, has to have this hyperventilating, like, freak out fit about the whole thing, as she always tends to do when she's faced with a tough situation. But we later see, our friends now know her so well at this point. They knew she was going to do this. And, of course, I saw in the trailer Pinkie calling it classic Twilighting, to which Twilight reacts, Twilighting? You made me a verb? I died. I died on that part. I just found that absolutely hilarious. And then Rainbow Dash finally saying what the fandom itself knew for years when Twilight goes, what if something happens to Equestria and the princesses aren't there to help? And Rainbow goes, if you think about it, they literally almost never help. And that got a roar from the full house at Whinny City. We're watching this episode live. That got a roar of laughter and approval. And she's like, yes, she finally said what we have been thinking for years. That's a classic troll. And then it's like, after that, like, I love how Pinkie Pie like rattles off like all the times they defeated the villains. And she only rattles off the ones that aren't reformed. Like she mentions like T-Rex and Chrysalis and Cozy Glow and Sombra. So she mentions all those that aren't reformed, and then asks, "Am I missing anything?" And then Rarity, of course, jumps in with Rarity, Spike, and Fluttershy bring up Pony of Shadows / Stygian, Starlight when she was evil, and Discord when he was evil. And then AJ says, "Does Flim and Flam count?" I mean, they are pretty bad too. Let's not maybe to full on villain level, but they are pretty bad. I don't think they're going to change anytime soon. And then I checked off some of my list early, so then we jump into the villains. So there's Chrysalis going pretty much full on breakdown mode. Like it's like she is just completely gone cuckoo. Like she is so devastated that she lost everything. Like she is completely off the rails. And then we see later T-Rex and Cozy Glow still together in Tartarus, but they're eventually all like poofing into smoke and disappearing. Clearly they're being summoned by something. And then we also see Sombra. But again, how? Like, I clearly whoever this was at the time, it was able to find a way to bring him back from the dead. Like he was dead. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Sombra was dead in season 3. Like we figured he was no more, but clearly there's apparently a way to bring him back. So it makes you wonder if there's a way to bring the Storm King back, or what have you. So so it was just confusing. And then as they all come together and wonder why they're all there, we then see who brought them all together. Grogar. And my first thought is, who the buck are you? Like, I had no clue who he was. I never heard of him. I was very, very confused. So I had no idea who he was, and I felt like, and I think to myself, I might have to live with the fact that our main villain this season is literally a GOAT, an acronym for greatest of all time. Like I'm thinking to myself as I watch Big Jim, is this one of your puns that you're throwing at us early? Was this your idea? I'm thinking, man, we definitely need a backstory on this one before the season's over. So apparently Grogar is bringing them all together to make kind of this villain league, like not a Justice League, but a Justice League of villains, like a villain league, if you will, to essentially what to do? Well, take over Equestria, rid Equestria, Twilight Sparkle, and Company, main 5, and forever, and take over Equestria. I can't fault that strategy. I mean, every villain that's tried to take them on an individual level has failed, but together, kind of this united force, that's really interesting. Grogar is a smart cookie. I can't fault his mind here. He's got a good mind up there. He's very smart. And I mentioned fellow reviewers and their thoughts. I watch a lot of their thoughts back on episodes, and Blank Check actually really brought up a good point in his review. What does Grogar really have against Twilight and her friends? Why is he so hell bent on taking them out? What's his reasoning for that? We've never seen him till now, so again that kind of left me with more questions, like why does he have this grudge against Twilight and her friends? So it again just makes you kind of wonder what that is. But then we do get the backstory of Grogar. Apparently he was the first emperor of Equestria. That was interesting. It kind of threw me off. Like even before there were princesses, that's something. And really his rule was nothing but darkness until Chrysalis mentions that Krusty the Great, I think is what she said. Like, what a name that is. and it rose up and actually banished him from Equestria. And that's a nice story, but that still doesn't answer when it happened, the timeline of it, or where it's coming from. So again, that kind of left me with okay, that's an okay backstory, but it kind of it comes up out of the blue and really doesn't explain still a whole lot of what's going on. And Grogar, he clearly underestimates the abilities of the main 6 because he is so offended by the fellow villains being and their defeats. He is so taken aback at that. I can't, he says, he tells them, I can't believe you've all been defeated by 6 puny ponies. He's so offended by that. And then they go oh, Crystal says, because they cheat. And Tira goes, because they're annoying. And Cozy Glow goes, I'm just a kid. So, it's she can't say anything mean. So that was priceless. But then, Sakura, here comes the first crack in the alliance. Here comes the first crack. First crack in this alliance. Boo, I know, I'm sorry, terrible joke AF, I'm sorry, too soon. Because Sombra says he doesn't do R's. He only does mine. He's going to take back the Crystal Empire all on his own. And I figured, he'd be the one, if anything, to go against the group. Maybe Chrysalis, but no, Sombra, he's always been very arrogant and full of pride and that kind of thing. So I guess, he'd be the one to do it. And Grogar says, all right, I'll let you try. If you prevail, the Empire's yours. But if you lose, you submit to me and you go along with my plan. And, of course, Sombra, being as arrogant as ever, says, okay, what if I refuse? Well, then if you lose, you'll be re-banished to where you came. You'll basically go back into the darkness. So you'll be re-dead. So it's either you win or you die. Win or death. That was basically Sombra's situation at this point. Win or death. I mean, it's can't go death. It's you win or death. That's basically what it was on Sombra's shoulders at this point. He was so confident. And then, meanwhile, back at the castle where Twilight is freaking out, Starlight comes in. Hello, best pony and guidance counselor ever. And, of course, she has to be the one to kind of try and talk Twilight down from the ledge of, oh, no, what am I going to do? Because Twilight's just freaking out. So, naturally, since Twilight is taking over Equestria, she decides to basically leave the castle and the School of Friendship to Starlight Glimmer. Sounds good to me. Yes, please. I would love that. But then Starlight kind of pulls, and I love this about Starlight, pulls kind of a reverse psychology and has her own many hyperventilating freak out moments to try to calm Twilight's nerves. But, of course, Twilight doesn't fall for that. And Spike again goes, it was a valiant effort. What more can you say? So now darkness falls over the Crystal Empire. Sombra has returned, and oh my, he's even gone so far as to kidnap Flurry Heart. Oh, it was going way too well. Like the brainwashing starts of the fellow ponies. There's pretty much just nothing stopping him. So, what are we going to use to defeat Sombra here? Why not the elements of harmony? Natural choice, pretty obvious. Haven't been used in a long time, but always secured by the tree. So, hey, can't go wrong there. And, Sombra, he's, of course, going to try his hardest to prevent the inevitable, because he tries to even go so far as to show our heroes their greatest fears, and including Twilight's. And apparently her fear is, all her friends being brainwashed, and then letting Celestia and Luna down, and then popping up as Daybreaker and Nightmare Moon, which is very intimidating. But eventually, power of friendship comes together. Twilight even says, yeah, you can show us our fears, you can show that, but you can't take away our friendship, which is clear. And the elements prevail, and Sombra's rainbowed away. Death number 1. Or so we think. And I love how even they distracted Sombra long enough for Spike to free Cadence, Shining Armor, and Flurry Heart, and then Flurry gets her revenge, because she was not very happy with Sombra, you could tell. And I love Cadence's angry reaction to, like, I'm ready to kick some butt, and then realizes it's too late. Poor Cadence. She's so underutilized in this show. She's like the missing princess. She's so underutilized. I can now understand why Silver Quill doesn't care much for her Shining Armor. I can see that now just from this premiere. And then, of course, another LOL moment, the cakewalk pun for Pinkie Pie walking on cakes. That was kind of funny. But then in the end of part 1, the scene that upsets me the most. Somehow, Sombra comes back again. How? Still not explained. And he murders the Tree of Harmony. Dead. Gone. Das. Kaput. Kaputski. Boom. Crystal. Bam. Tree. Dead. Elements. Shattered. Gone. And remember, we now know it's a sentient being. We saw it in Season 8 and What Lies Beneath. Huh, no more. Goodbye, elements. Goodbye, map missions. Thanks to a giant crystal, that won't be happening anymore. And that's how part 1 ends. And I'm just sitting there, mouth agape, just like, and I almost said it. I'm like, you son of a, I almost said it. Of course, I reminded him at a convention, so I kept my cool, but it's like, I was none too happy. But then we have part 2. And the ending of this part saves it as a whole. This is the better part. This one is the elite part. This one I give 8 out of 10. This is the elite. This is the better part than part 1. Poor Twilight in this, starting off, trying just in vain to put the elements back together, even though she knows it's all for naught. She knows it's not going to work. Just a sad moment there. Sombra Crystal prisons up our heroes. And he even has a moment to completely finish them off. But of course, that wouldn't really give him the satisfaction he needs. His in classic villain screw up fashion, he doesn't. His end goal is not to destroy the main 6. Apparently that's Grogar's goal. His goal is to take over Equestria for himself. So for him, that's more satisfying than ending the group of ponies that can defeat you. Got it, Sombra. Yeah, your mind is a lot more twisted than I thought. And that's saying a lot. that's saying a real lot of how twisted your mind is. And so when even Pinkie Pie can't say anything happy to even lift their spirits, you know that it's a dark situation. But our heroes also know they can't just sit there and do nothing. So they decide to dig their way out of their crystal prison. And even Rarity got in on it. And that made me smile because, as I mentioned at the panel, I got Apple Dash and I, we got asked what character of the main 6 that we got our perspectives changed on the most. For him it was Pinkie Pie because at first he found her very annoying because of the upbeat personality, but eventually it warmed to him. For me, by default, it was Rarity because, only because the fact that I didn't really hate any of the main 6, but it's for me, it was just the fact that the I guess the fashionista, the stuck up attitude, that kind of thing was kind of a turnoff. But eventually she came around and she got more episodes and got more success. She warned me eventually. But just those little moments, like that moment where she's digging the random guitar a thing in that one episode, that was hilarious. So just those little moments of Rarity that make me smile. So they do eventually get free, but they quickly find that Ponyville has become a brainwashed society. All their friends and loved ones once again are under Sombra's control, and it's that helpless feeling of there's nothing you can do about it. You can't snap them out of it. They're simply slaves to the new ruler of Equestria. It was pretty painful to watch. There was a bit of a chuckle moment though when Pinkie Pie describes the most disgusting cake she's ever seen when the cakes are taking this black and green monstrosity to Sombra. That was actually kind of funny. I wouldn't eat that either. Gross. And then it's as they watch helpless, Twilight, of course, says the classic phrase that you never say. Could anything else possibly go wrong? Twilight, sweetie, you never say those words. You don't. You're literally putting a curse on yourself by saying that. You don't want to say that. And sure enough, right on cue, because timing, the Everfree Forest is out of control again. And so it's growing like crazy because without the Crystal Heart, that's what can happen. So yes, it's the first time we've seen it since it happened in season 3. So that's when we see when I saw in the trailer with Rainbow Dash and then with the gardening tools. So wondering what become of that. Well, this is what becomes of that. So time to break them out. And I'm thinking to myself, seriously, where's Miss Main when you need her in this moment? Because she can probably fix all this. Although I don't know if her magic would be that powerful, but she's a pillar of Equestria, so you never know. But although I was thinking though, she could be brainwashed like the other pillars too, so I don't know. So Sombra and his herd again descend on Canterlot, and they do it again relatively easily. The guard are overtaken. Just when we thought they were doing something big at the end of season 8 by capturing Cozy Glow, bam, they're overtaken pretty easily here. Big Mac breaks down the door with ease. Equestria's defenses, they're pretty sad to say the least, and I hate saying that, but they're pretty sad. And once again, Sombra takes his place on the throne. I also love how Sombra's like so surprised that like Celestia and Luna weren't there. Like he was really like genuinely surprised that they weren't there to try and stop him. Like he was expecting them to do something. Like really, that was quite surprising to me. Meanwhile, the gardening tools aren't proving to be very effective for our heroes, and it looks like they're going to be overtaken by the flora and the fauna of every forest until we see a blast. And oh my gosh, it's Celestia and Luna helping, actually doing something. Stop my heart, call the free full press. It only took 9 bucking seasons, but here we are. They're actually doing something with Star Swirl as well, helping out. So Rainbow Dash's troll was somewhat foreshadowing to it being turned around. That's kind of interesting. So yeah, Star Swirl's here too, which makes you wonder, how did he not get brainwashed? That's interesting. But even the cooling about Star Swirl, even he sensed the moment when the tree was destroyed. That right there tells you the importance and significance of the tree when even the pillars are feeling the effects of it. So that was a poignant moment for me. But thankfully, Star Swirl and our leaders are here to kick some forest butt and return it back to some degree of normalcy. So our main 6 cheered them on, and of course I got to chuckle at Rainbow Dash calling Star Swirl Beardy. that was actually pretty funny. Get him, Beardy! That was really funny. So they get it under control. That's all rectified. But now we're down to one problem. They're defeating Sombra again. But that may end up getting through his brainwashed horde of ponies, a.k.a. the friends of our heroes, the citizens of Ponyville, just to get to him. But eventually they do. They tie up everybody eventually with the promise they'll free them later when Sombra's defeated. Gotta do what you gotta do to save Equestria, right? And I love also in that moment how Rainbow and Fluttershy teamed up together to take down the brainwashed guard. That was awesome. So they finally get inside the castle, and hi, Discord, where have you been this whole time? You weren't even in it until now. Very odd timing of you, but here you are. Apparently he was setting up for Twilight's coronation, but that's not going to happen now due to Sombra's Invasion Part 2. The alternate episode title, anybody? Sombra's Invasion Part 2? No? Okay. Too obvious? All right. So, without the elements now to assist them, they are literally begging and pleading for Discord's help, something, anything. And thankfully, he does oblige eventually. And, so he's fending off Sombra's shots of magic, poofing them in different kind of things, and, keeping him at bay. And Twilight's just... And even for a moment, Discord's heart does seem to melt for a bit because Twilight says, I don't know what we'd do without you, Discord. And the crowd actually at Whinny City, had a big awe moment when that happened because we could see it on Discord's face. And we could see like, oh, wow, they really do appreciate me and what I'm offering here and what I'm doing for them. So that was a real nice moment. That was really nice. So Discord is turning every blast Sombra throws him into something non-threatening, and then he takes a hit. He literally takes a shot for Fluttershy, for all of them, and oh wow, that's unfortunate that happened. But then we probably have the sweetest moment of the entire episode. Discord gives this rousing speech, and it's paraphrased, but it's like, you don't need me. You don't need the elements to defeat him. You're together for a reason. You're here for a reason. No one can ever take that away from you. And for me, wow, that is one of the most emotional, heartfelt moments like in the whole series. Like, and there have been a lot in the series. That's saying a lot, but that for me was just like, oh, feels like that. That was just, it was just so strong in that moment. And I don't care, if you can find out later that, Discord faked the whole thing to inspire them. What matters is it did inspire them. So then it leads to the final showdown, and our heroes, they may not know how they're going to beat Sombra yet, but they're not going to back down. They've come too far at this point. They're not going to stop now. It's very reminiscent to Twilight when she kept having to face Starlight in her showdown in these alternate timelines. She didn't know how at the time she was going to defeat her, or even get through to her, but she knew eventually that she would find a way that stuck. And this is kind of the same thing. They don't know how to defeat him. They're going to do whatever they can to fend him off until that happens. They're not going to back down. Even Twilight going just so far as just deflecting Sombra's blasts. Like, that was just so cool. We're just going to keep on marching and keep on going. And in the end, it's actually the magic of friendship itself. Them coming, just showing how together they are, that ends up defeating him. And that was really cool. And, and it's like the way that Sombra just dies in this. Like, okay, is he actually dead this time? Is he really dead? If he's not really dead this time, like, because he looked pretty dead, I'll be stunned. Like, I didn't, I thought we all thought he was dead the first time. If he's not dead after that, I don't know what else to think. I don't know. So, seriously, though, that was one of the most glorious on-screen deaths in the show since the Storm King. Like, literally, I even said, I'm like, get out of here. I even said it at Con. I'm like, get out of here. Goodbye. Good riddance, Sombra. So everything goes back to normal. Discord gets a recovery from our heroes. Well, before he admits he pretended, which gets the shocked face from everybody. And then Celestia and Luna show up. And they tell Twilight that, yeah, she did prove herself worthy of being a leader of Equestria. They were kind of wrong to throw it on her so quickly. Ya think? So they decide not to retire right away, only hand things over to Twilight when the time is right. So that's probably one of the smartest decisions you made, well, ever. Ever. Literally, ever. So, yeah, Discord was faking, but, if anything, that showed, he genuinely does care. He does care about the main six. He does care about Fluttershy and Twilight and then the whole group. So it showed in that moment. So back at the Villain League, then to close, Tirek, Cozy Glow, Chrysalis, they kind of seem to be maybe strengthening their bond a little bit. And they hear the news from Grogar that, Sombra won't be returning to the band. But I think they've now learned the hard way, don't go against Grogar's plan, because that is what can happen. Although their nonchalant laughter about it kind of makes me think that as the season goes on, one of them or all of them won't hesitate to break away at some point. It just seems like there's going to be more fracturing as time goes by. And if that's the case, Grogar is definitely not leader material. So, again, to me, not the best ever premiere, not in my top 5, probably rank it at 6. Again, it's not the worst. It was okay. The second part saved it. From the first part, it's just confusion and evilness by Sombra, along with straight-up tree murder. We'll have to see how the Villain League goes the rest of the season, along with these repercussions from the tree being taken out. But a promising start nonetheless. Again, 6.5 on average. Second half saved it. I tweeted this, but I mentioned, my top 5 premiere favorites. School Days, Celestial Advice, those are always going to be toward top of my list because A, Student 6 come on scene first, and B, Starlight graduating and taking the next step in after saving Equestria. Graduating being Twilight's pupil. And then I think I said, what did I say after that? I think I said, Cutie Map was 4th. I think I said the Crystalline was 5th, or Crystal Empire. No, I think I said Crystal Empire, because the Crystalline I'm not too big a fan of either. I forget what I said was 3rd, but still. So again, not one of my top 5, but still, an okay premiere. It was just the second part that saved it for me, and put that put Somber to bed. So that was definitely huge. All right, real quick, I'm going to do the sports thing first because I'm going to save the episode reaction for last. Alliance American Football, unfortunately, folded, came to an end 2 weeks premature of its season ending in the lead of the championship game. It only played 8 weeks out of 10. Tough to see it go. It was such entertaining football. These players getting their second chance to shine. Johnny Manziel made an appearance for Memphis for a while, and that was great to see. But in the end, there's just too many things, going on that just derailed it. The attendance numbers weren't great. Tom Dundon, who put a lot of money into it, he said he wanted the NFL Player Association to provide practice squad players, and he said we can't be developmental league. We don't have that. So that was unfortunate that he couldn't get a deal done there. So yeah, it was just so tough for it to come to an end, not even completing its first season, because it was really entertaining football. The coaches were good. There's some really good players, and actually a lot of those players have actually signed NFL contracts. So maybe in a way, the Alliance was able to do a little bit of its purpose after they folded, and a lot of these players now have gone to NFL rosters. So that was great for them as well. A lot of players have actually made it as a result. So hopefully they stick on these rosters. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see it go. Who knows if the XFL is going to survive in 2020? The biggest thing I had, I watched the Alliance the first couple of weeks and really got into it, and then March came around, and my focus was on March Madness, and I think I think that's a big problem too. It's not only yes, it's not competing with any football because there is no football going on, but it's competing with other sports. And March Madness is pretty much the biggest event in March. So when you're competing with another sport that's bigger than you in that month, people then don't watch as much. So I think that was also a big problem for the Alliance as well. They were competing against March Madness, and I pretty much forgot about it. I hardly even watched any of the Alliance in March and April because I was watching the tournament. So I just forgot about it. I was still kind of following the games and seeing the results, but I didn't really watch because I'm watching March Madness. So again, so it's tough. It's tough to see it end. It was a great idea. They had some great rule changes with going for 2, no kickoffs. The onside kick possibility for the re-onside kick for a 4th down conversion. That was neat. I think they even tried to implement that in the NFL and it got denied. But there was just so much to like about the Alliance, and it was really good. So tough to see it go. Again, here's hoping the XFL can survive a second go around. We'll see. But the Alliance was fun. It was fun to watch. It was entertaining. I liked it. I enjoyed it, and it's just tough to see it end so prematurely. NHL playoff thoughts. This is tough because my teams that I follow, the 5 of them, there are 3 that are doing decent to really well, and there are 2 that are really disappointing, including one that is beyond disappointing. Let's see. The Nashville Predators are tied with the Dallas Stars at a game apiece. They are playing Game 3, I think, tonight. So that's been a good series. Bless me. Thus far. St. Louis Winnipeg, that's been a good series. The road team has won every game in that series so far in the Western Conference. Right now, the Blues leading 2-1. My Avalanche tied with the Calgary Flames right now, 1 game apiece. I didn't think that would be as tight as it has been, but Colorado showed up in game 2 and won on the road in overtime. Sharks, they're losing to the Golden Knights, as I pretty much figured they would. They're down 2-1, lost 6-3 last night in game 3 in Vegas, which is always tough to win at. So I kind of figured that was going to happen. Eastern Conference, Toronto and Boston, they are locked up 1 game apiece. I think they're playing game 3 tonight. It's always a fun, entertaining series. Should go the distance. Washington leading Carolina 2-0. I thought Carolina coming in would be a strong team. I predicted, of course, in the NHL, when I did my NHL All-Star videos, I predicted Carolina would make a push, and I also got, who else did I get right? The Coyotes almost got in. I said Buffalo. I whiffed on them. And I did have St. Louis, so I was right on 2 out of the 4. And St. Louis is looking good. Carolina right now, not so much. But they've played close games with Washington, but the Capitals are the defending champs, so that's why they're playing at such a high level. They're up 2-0. The disappointing teams, though, have been my Pittsburgh Penguins, who are down 3-0 to the Islanders. Although I knew that the Islanders would be a tough matchup going in, I knew that it would be tricky with the Islanders with really good play, really good goaltending. They have 2 elite goaltenders in Robin Lehner and Thomas Greiss. I knew that would be tricky, but they have thoroughly outplayed the Penguins in nearly every game except for game 1 that went to overtime. It could have gone either way, but the Islanders have taken advantage of that, and they are just playing outside their mind. They're looking like a team that could really make a deep, deep run. And then there are the Tampa Bay Lightning. Oh, my goodness. Where do I even start? Make my eyes hurt. I mean, this team dominated the regular season all year long. 61 wins. The goaltender, Vasilevsky, ties the franchise record for shutouts. Doesn't break it, unfortunately. And they are now a game away from elimination, a game away from being swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets. By the Columbus fucking Blue Jackets, who have never won a series in their history, who have been up and down all year, who for a long time there's trade rumors surrounding Artemi Panarin. Bobrovsky was involved in trade discussions, but now he's still there, and he's thoroughly outplaying Vasilevsky. And they've thoroughly outplayed him the last 3 games. Since Tampa Bay was up 3-0 in the first period of Game 1, the Blue Jackets have outscored the Lightning 12-2. That is a straight-up embarrassment. I am just so disappointed as a Lightning fan. I thought that this for sure would be the year. But clearly, this team cannot make adjustments in game. They can't play through adversity. They don't play well on the road. Apparently can't beat a Columbus team at home. I mean, what do you blame? Do you blame it on Cooper, who can't make in-game adjustments, who's only a good regular season coach and doesn't do well in the playoffs? Do you fire him, even after he signed an extension? Do you blame him? Do you blame the curse of the President's Trophy? That teams usually that win the President's Trophy don't go on to win the Stanley Cup every year? Do you blame the fact that Stamkos touched the President's Trophy? Which, by the way, he was wearing also those hideous black jerseys. I think it's all the above. I think it's combo all the above myself. But it's just so frustrating and disappointing. And Cooper, of course, says, oh, well, it's Game 4. It's Tuesday. We're still alive. Yeah, you're still alive, but you're only by a thread. You've been outplayed in 3 straight games. So I don't know. I think the Lightning are done. I think the Pens are done. 3-0 comebacks do not happen very often. They've only happened like 4 or 5 times in the modern era. So yeah, it does not happen very often. So I'm not expecting it to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. So that's my thought on that. All right. Let's go ahead and let's watch this episode.
Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real. This one is for real, and I'm so excited.
All right, so this is episode 3. Is Uprooted is the title. It's an interesting title. The young six respond to a magical summons from the Tree of Harmony. Not sure how that's possible. Only to learn it has been destroyed. Again, so how is that possible? That again kind of leaves me with a question. How can it get a summons from the tree when the tree was destroyed? Deaths are hard to explain in this show. Like legit though. Like is something dead or is it not dead? Like this is kind of confusing. Well, let's see how they go about this. I usually am not disappointed by a Student 6 episode. I rarely do. Well, except for non-compete clause, but only because that was mostly AJ and Dash fighting with each other. But aside from that, I really have not been disappointed in a Student 6 episode. So here's hoping that I'm not disappointed in this one. So let's watch this. And of course, we see the end of part 2 first.
I'm safe, killed, and lost. But at least you can serve as a warning to those who don't continue with my plans.
Yes, Grogar, your plans.
Have doubts.
No, I'm good.
And we shall join forces and work together to bring Equestria to its knees.
That nonchalant laughter, like, yeah, we're really gonna do this. You're so menacing, Grogar. So I want to see how they're going to go about this. Like, again, how can they get a summons from the tree when it's, I don't know. I want to see how they go about this. All right, here we go. Oh, well, that's cool. Aw, Dash and Silverstream flying together. Aw, that's cute. Awesome. Whoa, nice, Silverstream.
Congratulations, Silverstream. You're officially the first non-Pegasus Wonderbolt.
Nice.
That is such an honor. I don't know how to thank you, Professor Dash. Easy. You're getting off our show right now. So get up there and make me proud.
Whoa. Okay, just throw her in the fire?
I don't have my uniform. Silverstream. Somehow I was the class all year and the final is today. I don't have...
Oh, okay, there's Ocellus in her graduating garb. Whoa, Yona falling again. What is up with Yona always falling? Whoa. And she didn't fall. How?
That was weird.
That was weird.
That's even weirder.
Whoa. Whoa. Cute Smolder. Ah.
This isn't mine.
Ah.
I can stop.
Whoa. Whoa. What is going on? This is like chaos. What is this? What is going on? Whoa. What?
This isn't my dream. Friends must be dreaming together.
More like a nightmare.
Ugh.
All right. I would pick just one. They all look
Poor Sandbar.
It's your version of a bad dream. But why did you bring us here, Headmere Twilight? I am not Twilight. I am merely the messenger. You all must hurry. The Tree of Harmony needs you.
How? Okay, hold up. Whoa, time out. Okay. So, again, first off, it doesn't explain why Ocellus is in her graduation garb. That still doesn't answer that question I saw in the trailer. That still doesn't explain that. So, apparently, what I saw in the trailer wasn't Twilight doing it. It was the tree again somehow. Again, I don't know how that's possible. I don't get that at all. Like that's confusing. This whole opening is confusing. So I guess they were dreaming, like that was a dream. So Silverstream's dream is to be a Wonderbolt? That's awesome. Like if that's the case, but then she gets like thrown in the fire. So I guess these are all. So is this kind of like so we saw them in What Lies Beneath when they were facing their fears. This is kind of like them like experiencing their nightmares, because again we saw Gallus there being claustrophobic again and still being scared. We saw Ocellus scared that she wasn't going to pass her final. We saw Smolder being seen as Q, which we know she's afraid of. So this was kind of like a callback in a way to What Lies Beneath, although we didn't see Silverstream with the Wonderbolt in that moment, so that was different. But that was kind of a callback to What Lies Beneath. But still, this doesn't explain like, and then again, you notice the colors that each of them got, and I made note of this, with the new elements, that would mean Gallus's light was blue, so that'd be loyalty. Yona got orange for honesty. Silverstream got the pink for laughter. Sandbar got purple for magic. Smolder was white for generosity, and then Ocellus got the yellow for kindness. That was different. Now that's different than what we saw in the finale with some, because some of those were the same. I think Yoda was still honesty, Silverstream was still laughter, but then like Gallus was magic, Sandbar was like generosity, and some of those got flip flopped. So that's different. So I don't know what that means either. Does that mean that that's going to be their new? That what we saw here are their new elements, or what we saw in the finale? That's still kind of confusing and hard to clarify as well. So again, does that also mean that the tree isn't dead? Like how is there still a sentient being? Like how is that still possible with the tree destroyed? It doesn't make any sense. Like I'm still kind of confused on that. Like that's still kind of confusing. So we're going to see how this plays out. So still same intro, by the way. Apparently, I don't know if we'll get. We're not going to get a new intro for this season, because normally by the third episode we had a new intro, but still no new intro. But that's all right. Can't complain too much. All right, fast forward to commercials. That's what I love about DVR.
Deal. So place your order.
Whoops.
What the fun?
Nope.
Cake box on its way. Starting
I saw it coming back.
Only Discovery Family. The final showdown may be near.
Equestria will be ours.
But the fun. Let's get this party started. Is far from over.
Awesome.
My Little Pony, all new. Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Only on Discovery Family. Dear Dad.
All right, so how is this going to happen? How is this summons going to happen? There's our school. Oh, hi, Spike. Nice and shiny.
Looking good. Hey, horrible news!
Oh,
What's wrong? Is the Crystal Empire under attack again? What? No. We only have 20 highlighters. And
of course, Twilight. We only have 20 highlighters.
I'm pretty sure you're the one that does that.
Yes.
No, 20 isn't enough for the new school year. We got plenty of time to order. The friendship students won't be back until...
Okay, so this is written by Nicole Dubuque. Okay, so she's done some really good episodes. So hopefully she continues to do well. And what do you know, the students?
Now?
Poor Yona. Always stumbles
No,
in.
this is a surprise. Why are you all here so early? I nice and not the wrong back-to-school date? We're not here for school.
Yeah, we're back because the Tree of Harmony called us here.
Again,
I
how?
feel bad it didn't reach out to you. We kind of have a special connection with it after last year.
But the tree couldn't have called you. It's gone.
Exactly. Thank you, Twilight. How is that possible? How can the tree call them? That blows my mind. How is that possible? We saw it get blown to smithereens by Sombra. How is that possible? This is what's this is like, again, confusion. This is like, I don't get it.
Maybe
Gasp.
next time, ease in with those truth bombs. What about the elements of harmony?
Gone.
Those are gone too. But doesn't that mean the Everfree Forest will take over Equestria? We've got that part under control.
Yep.
And Sandra won't be coming back. So
Hopefully.
good news, right?
Hopefully he's dead. Oh, the students look so sad.
Can we see the tree ourselves? Or what's left of it? As
Aww.
long as you promise to stick together, the castle of the two sisters isn't the safest place as you may remember. You're not scared of puffwudgies anymore. Friends say rules from evil Pegasus.
She does have a point.
He does have a point. I love these students. Can I just say that again?
How did this happen?
Sombra did it, duh. Oh,
If only we hadn't gone home for summer break, maybe we could have saved the tree.
smoke from
I wish
Smolder.
that somber guy was still around so we could teach him a lesson. That not bring
I don't think you want to wish that, Smolder. Smolder, I love you to death, but I don't think you want to wish that. We've seen enough. We've seen enough of him. I don't think you want to wish that. Don't even think that.
elements of harmony. Wait! We all saw and heard the tree in our dream, right? How could it talk to us if it was really gone? Maybe.
Exactly. No, that's a question I want answered. That's, again, how is it able to communicate with you? How is it able to summon you? I really, yes, Silverstream, I'd really like to answer this question, please.
I think really strong friendship thoughts. The tree will get better. I've heard worse suggestions.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to fly. I don't think it's going to fly.
No.
No.
I guess the tree really is gone.
And we need to do something to honor it.
Good idea, Gallus.
Hey, maybe that's why the tree called us. It must have used the last of its magic to make sure we come here to keep its memory alive.
It did say it needed us.
Oh, Celis!
Whoa!
There you are. The hive has been worried sick. Why did you leave without telling us? The last time you and your friends did that, it almost brought our kingdoms to war.
Sorry, Thorax. It was an emergency.
Well, next time, ask before you run off. Now come on, let's go home.
Wait, she can't leave.
Something doesn't feel right about this. Wait a minute. Something doesn't feel right about that. I don't think that. Why? That doesn't make sense. This is so out of character for Thorax. Why would he randomly show up and then tell Ocellus that he's mad at her for running off? And then Twilight's with him. That doesn't make a lick of sense. This seems so out of character for him. Like that. You would think that he would have to know that they've been. Well, no one will know. No one except Twilight now knows they've been called by the tree. But this just feels so out of character for him. Like why? I don't know. This doesn't. Boy, a lot of this episodes doesn't seem right. This is like hurting my brain. This is so weird.
But she's not a dragon. You know what I mean.
Love that.
This quest for all your friends. We need to help Tree.
And it might take a while.
Can we stay at their Twilight? Well, as long as you get permission from your kingdoms, I suppose it's all right.
You want that permission slip in triplicate, or is one enough?
Ah, Gallus.
I like to be prepared.
Oh. Smolder taking on the dragons in arm wrestling. I love it. I love it. Boom. Way to go, Smolder. Yes. Nice. Nicely done. So apparently they have to, like, prove to their kingdoms that they're worthy of this quest. This is different too. So the kids have to do work in order to save the tree. I mean, a little labor isn't bad, but it's like, I don't think their kingdoms realize the severity of the situation. Oh, Gal's going back to Griffinstone. And he just does it. No explanation, just remember, no work, just bam, does it. Aww. I love the changeling, how cute. Aww, happy bug. I love it. This Silverstream. There's a drawing. She's trying to explain to them. Okay, see, Silverstream actually gets to explain how dire it is. So good for you, Silverstream. Yay! That's awesome.
Hey, you're back.
So all Silverstream had to do was just explain the situation, and it was good to go. But Smolder had to work for it. Yona had to work for it. And Osel, I mean, well, okay, really, I don't think really she did it the easy way.
Sandbar, where's the tree?
Oh. Okay, this again is why I always question.
Not.
No.
How can we remember the tree if it's totally gone?
Oh, it's not gone. Look,
Okay.
I planted a new tree.
You planted a new tree. Really? Yeah, that's gonna go over swimmingly. You.
The symbolism and deep emotions of the tree.
No, it should be a museum with all the tree's history and artifacts.
Oh boy, here we go. They're not on the same page. And only a griffin came up with this idea. Gallus, griffin fashion. In true griffin fashion, only a griffin came up with this idea. Classic callback.